Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's the boy in blue, and I'm back with another video, as well as some new hair. Decided to get my hair done for my birthday last week. Or it was a couple weeks ago, actually. But anyway, in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about X-Men Apocalypse, or rather talk a lot about X-Men Apocalypse. But in previous attempts to record this video, I end up going into a lot of details. I decided to split the video up into a few parts. I was originally going to do like basically one video per character and kind of like go down the line because my reviews and everything like that, and basically the way that I think about a lot of stories and storytelling, I focus a lot more on the characters in general because they're the prime facilitators of the plot. And so that'll definitely be the case here. I'm thinking about trying to do maybe 1 to 2 characters per video. But for this first one, kind of like talk mostly about Apocalypse and like the beginning sequence and then my overall feelings of Apocalypse in general. So you might consider this my Apocalypse and the Horsemen video. So the way that the film begins, I was very, very impressed with this opening scene, this opening sequence. I really loved the representation of Egypt in this movie. I felt like for this to be an X-Men movie in which there are mutants and superpowers and like all these like sci-fi fantasy elements, I feel like this was probably one of the more accurate, or like, yeah, I would say accurate portrayals of Egypt. From what I believe and from what I like, know about history and everything like that. Because we saw all kinds of shades and colors. We saw, the stereotypical representation of Egyptians of like the golden skinned, like Mediterranean looking ones. That's basically what a lot of media likes to say Egyptians looked like. At least back before they started doing all the whitewashing with things like Exodus gods and kings and gods of Egypt. But I mean, like, for the most part, Egyptians are always, like, golden-skinned and, like, Mediterranean-looking, like, never black. But here, while you did have those as well, the more golden-skinned, like, lighter-skinned ones, you also had, like, dark-skinned African-looking people, because Egypt, fun facts, Egypt is in Africa. Egypt is an African country, and there are and were black people in Egypt. Fun facts. That's just what it is. But anyway, I felt like the racial makeup of this opening sequence was fantastic. I'm like, if X's Gods and Kings and Gods of Egypt would have looked like this, just this right here, those movies probably would have did so much better. Although they were shitty in other ways than just the whitewashing and everything like that. That being said, the opening sequence was pretty great. I thought that because the first time when I saw X-Men Apocalypse, my first time, I saw it on its opening night and on Thursday. I forgot what day exactly, but it was on a Thursday here in the West Coast. Thursday at like 7 p.m., which was probably around the time of like midnight-ish or something like that on the East Coast. But anyway, I was a little bit late to that one, so I didn't see this opening sequence. I basically got to the part where Raven and Eric and Kurt had already met up, and after the whole Apocalypse thing went down, and basically to the point where like Moira comes in. Like that's pretty much the point where I got to the movie. I mean, in the movie, so I had missed the beginning sequence. But in seeing it again, I saw the sequence and I was like really impressed. I was so impressed, and I realized in watching it that his first incarnation of the Horsemen were like miles more powerful and effective than the ones we see later. Even though he has like Magneto, I'm like, what? But in general too, especially in comparison to like his later incarnation of the Brotherhood, which is mostly comprised of like noteworthy X-Men characters or like X-Men members. Even Magneto in the comics has been like a leader and like member of the X-Men, like on and off and shit like that. But yeah, they're all comprised of X-Men members. I like the Horsemen when it like has like one. It usually has like one noteworthy X-Men, whether it's Archangel or like Wolverine has been Death before, the Horseman Death. And then it's usually like other like miscellaneous, like more like lesser known mutants who are like the other members. But here they just went with all X-Men, which was interesting. But anyway, that being said, especially with like the later incarnation of the Brotherhood that comes in after the less powerful version of the Brotherhood of the Horsemen, like in seeing Apocalypse's powers and everything like that, and how he like creates the pyramids and shit, I'm like, why the fuck does he need this team? Why the fuck does he need these horsemen when he can do all that? I'm like, he is so OP. What is the point? Like, why do you need these people? Why do you need Archangel and his like metal wings and the little wing darts, which are cool, you know? At least like in the animated series when they could also explode, like he was just the least powerful and the least effective of them. I was like not impressed with him at all. And of course we had no backstory for Warren or Betsy. We didn't even hear their actual names. Like, actually Warren, I don't know, did they say his name? I know they didn't say Betsy's name. That I definitely noticed. Anyway, and I'll look down a lot in these videos because I'm consulting my notes. But let me see. Oh, also, back to like the beginning sequence of the first Horseman. I don't know which Horseman it was because they didn't say their names, and I didn't really have a way of knowing for sure, except if they like looked like the Horseman or whatever from the comics. But the Final Horseman, the one who was last standing, who like had that like telekinesis energy thing going on, like protecting Apocalypse's body, was so badass. She was everything. I'm like, she's halfway dead, or like I think she actually was dead and her power was still working, still doing its job. I'm like, girl, yes, I'm here for it. I'm like, you go. I would love to have you as my henchman. Like, yes, she got everything done. Like, she could stay. But then she got crushed and that's when it like went away. But she still did her job. She protected his body. Like, it was all good. I'm like, that's what's up. I was so here for it. Apocalypse in general. I think that Oscar Isaac did a good job with what he was given, which unfortunately was not enough. He did not have enough to do. I felt like Apocalypse was shortchanged in a lot of ways because in the animated series, the first X-Men animated series, which was, you know, a really good, like, it was a really good representation of Apocalypse. And in the comics, he usually, even when he's like at his like smaller level, because he has the ability to like grow and shrink, like grow his size and everything like that. But even at his like base level, he still towers above the rest of the Horsemen on horseback. But here, he's like shorter than the rest of them. I'm like, it just makes him look not as effective. The only time we see him do like the grow thing was in the Astral Battle, which that was a cool sequence. I loved that. I love the Astral Plane in like every incarnation of like the games, the shows, whatever. And I was so happy to see here. I thought it was done well. It was unfortunate. The only thing that was unfortunate about that whole thing was the fact that that was the only time we got to see Apocalypse grow. Like, that was it. I'm like, he should have been able to do that in real life. It would have made him look so much more badass, so much more terrifying, and everything like that. I understand that they did Giant Man in, like, Civil War, but he's not a bad guy. Apocalypse is literal evil incarnate. Like, that would have been a different effect, a different thing. And that's something that we've all always known that he can do. Also, furthermore, the astral sequence was the only time we ever saw him doing anything physical, like actually like picking up Xavier and throwing him around. Because that was another thing that kind of handicapped Isaac in this movie, was that he didn't get to do any like physical like fighting or anything like that outside of the Astral Battle. It didn't make him as effective as he could have been. But I love the voice. I love the voice and how they enhanced it and everything like that, and how loud it was. I thought it was very like awesome. It was very like cool. I was very much for it. And overall, I thought he was alright. He could have been better, but I thought he was effective. Apocalypse in this movie. Again, there was definitely obvious room for improvement, but overall, I appreciated it. So, in the next video, I'm probably going to talk mostly about Mystique and Nightcrawler. And then I might throw in Psylocke too for good measure. So,